Mesdames et messieurs,
The greatest festival of our contemporary society, the Olympic Games, is about to begin.
this is gonna be close.
Oh! They're all completely gassed! They've given it everything on the global bucket! Oh, yeah! No! Oh!
Brilliant. But that is an Olympic championship.
Ready.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Keep the Flame Alive, the podcast for fans of the Olympics and Paralympics. If you love the games, we are the show for you. Each week, we share stories from athletes and people behind the scenes to help you have more fun watching the games. I'm your host, Jill Jaracz, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Alison Brown. Alison, hello, how are you?
I finished watching Four Nations, then moved on to Four Continents. Listener Meredith told me about dress drama in the skating world. I have been having a week.
Whoa, wait, what is dress drama?
Well, without naming names, one of the top skaters was accused of stealing the design of another person's dress. I did not know this was a thing. Apparently, it's a thing.
Whoa.
We talk about it in the Facebook group. So Keep the Flame Alive podcast in Facebook. You will learn more about dress drama.
Yes, and lots of other stuff because the Facebook group is hopping even if the cauldron is not lit. So do check that out. Keep the Flame Alive podcast group on Facebook. All right, today, one of my favorites.
Kung Fu Kenny is
That's
back.
right. Today we are checking in with sprinter Kenny Bednarek at Paris 2024. He won his second silver medal in the 200 meters, repeating from Tokyo 2020. He also competed in the 100 meters, finishing 7th, and with Team USA finished 8th in the men's 4x100 meter relay. We do get in the drama surrounding that race. We talked with Kenny a few months ago. It's been since, was it October? Was it December?
It was December.
It was December. So we talked with Kenny in December. That's right. And got the lowdown on his Paris experience and what he's working on next. As a reminder of some of the other athletes we talk about in this interview, for the 100 meters, gold went to Noah Lyles of the U.S., silver went to Kashane Thompson of Jamaica, and bronze went to Fred Curley from the USA. For the 200 meters, gold went to Letziel Tobogo from Botswana. Kenny won silver, and Noah Lyles won the bronze. And then the men's 4x100 relay team for the U.S. was Christian Coleman, Kenny, Kari King, Fred Curley, and then Courtney Lindsay. Take a listen. Kenny Bednarek, welcome back.
I'm glad
Olympics
to be
number
back.
2. Oh, thank you. Olympics number 2 under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
You qualified for more events this time around.
Yeah.
How were you going into Paris, and how was it different from Tokyo in terms of competition level?
I felt very confident in the beginning of the year. You know, I had the goals that I wanted to set, which was to make all three teams, and that's what I did. You know, that just the satisfaction of having the goal and then accomplishing it, and then, you know, having another goal of getting to the Olympics and then trying to come out with 3 gold medals. It was fun. Like I said, I just came into the games confident, and, you know, all the work I put in beforehand told me I could get the job done. You know, I was a little short of what I wanted to do, but like overall, like I think this Olympics was pretty satisfying for me.
How was the track itself, performance-wise?
The track, it was very nice. So we didn't get the chance to see the track until like the first day of the race. I know they had an opportunity for some of us to like check it, I think the day before, but I was busy with something else. So, you know, the first round is when it was the first time I got to actually step on and feel it out. And yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. The stands and seeing all the people there, it was beautiful. And yeah, it was definitely a fast track. I mean, the moment I took the first step after the gun went off, it was just like, okay, yeah, this is a nice one.
The atmosphere was pretty electric in the stadium as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest difference from Tokyo, just having the fans there, having my mom there, girlfriend, loved ones, just everyone that was there to support me. And I think that was the most important thing that came out of it for me, was just to have my family there to actually just witness me shining bright for them and representing the country and in my hometown. Tokyo was just weird. You know, we had the stress of testing every single day, trying to see if we tested positive or negative for COVID. And then on top of that, there's nobody there. You know, it's you know, one of the biggest races of your life, and then you got no one really there to watch it. I mean, you have people watching on TV, but it's a different feeling when you actually have the crowd full to the brim and then just having everybody cheering your name. And yeah,
Let's start with the 100. Early rounds of the 100-meter were in the rain. So how does that affect things, if it affects things?
I mean, the track is going to be a little bit more, sleek, slipperier. But for me, it's not really a big difference. It's just making sure that I stay focused and have that tunnel vision and, just anticipate the gun and go and execute the race that I know how. Like I said, for me, it just wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, I train in the rain. It rains in Florida pretty much every single day, it seems, when it's in the summer. So I'm used to that environment. I'm one of those athletes where I kind of just adapt to the situation. So whether it's cold or it's raining, snowing, like, I'll figure it out.
How do you plan the strategy for each round? Because you don't want to blow everything in the first round, yet the talent is just incredible at that level.
So me and my coach's game plan is just making sure to conserve as much energy as we can until the finals, just to kind of let it rip. So yeah, just going through the first round, it's just basically taking charge and just just feeling it out, kind of seeing where everybody else is at, and if they're allowing me to run something slower than 9.9, then I'll take it, kind of thing. So that's just the game plan for the semifinals, prelims, just making sure just to conserve as much energy as possible. And then when the finals come, just let it rip and see what happens. And I think going into trials, we did a good job. And then going into Olympics, we did a pretty good job as well. Sometimes when we're still on the 100, but I'm going to go to the 200 right now. But after doing all the rounds and then having to run the 200 after the finals for the 100, I kind of was a little annoyed because one of the athletes wanted to let it rip, I guess. And I had to run I think it was like 1999 or something like that. And physically I could do it, but it was more the mental side where it's kind of like, dang, I wish I could have chilled a little bit. So I was a little annoyed about that. But then I was like, it's
Did you
Olympics.
watch the Netflix show?
Everyone here and there is always going to want to do something crazy in the first round and kind of cement like who's the top dog that day. Kind of just depends on who's in the field. If they kind of let me get away with running 10 flat and winning my heat, then I'll take it. But if I have to run something a little bit faster than that, then I'm kind of like, okay, I didn't want to do that, but it is what it is. And then I was saying that's what happened in the 200 with Ogando. Like he wanted to, I guess, let it rip a little bit. And after doing 3 rounds for the 100, I was kind of like, okay, let me recover a little bit because we're running back-to-back days. And I had to run like 1999. And physically I could do it, but mentally I was kind of like, I kind of wish I could, let off the gas a little bit. But everything worked out.
For the 100, you made the finals on time. How was the waiting game for that?
Oh, that's stressful. That's a spot I never want to be in again. Honestly, like I said, this was my first major championships being in the 100. So I guess in a way I kind of underestimated the field because I was kind of going off of what people was running leading up to the Olympics. So it was like I kind of had an idea what people were going to do. But then once it's the Olympic Games, people just flip a switch and they bring something out of them that you didn't think was there. So I guess in a way, like when the gun started, I had an okay start, but I thought I would get away with kind of not trying to go all out, but that wasn't the case. And then yeah, just waiting there was just stressful because I was kind of like, did I blow it? Like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. And then watching the other race go on and finally hearing my name, like I made it, I was like, okay, thank God. Like let me let me reset and then get into the finals.
So walk us through the finals. How are you feeling?
I
How'd it
mean,
go?
like I said, got to the finals. I felt confident. I knew that everybody was going to bring their A game, and I had, with my lane draw, I was at a disadvantage, I would say. But I had to kind of go off of what Fred and Kashane was doing, and I think I had a pretty good start. I mean, time wise, like ran 9:88. So I think just execution wise, I should have done a little bit better. Because when it's the finals, especially in the Olympics, you want to be, the fastest human on the planet. And I was in a good spot, I feel like at 40 to 50 meters. But then after that, I just kind of lost track of what I was doing. And I tried to do too much. And that's where I started to tighten up a little bit. And that's one thing that Noah he's one of the best at doing, is making sure just to stay with him, stay with his technique. And that usually, gets him the medals. And that's something I'm still trying to learn. And initially, kind of after the whole ordeal, I was upset. But then just kind of seeing the history, I'm like, hey, this is the fastest 100-meter finals that's happened in like years. And then just looking at the previous finals before running, 9:88, that would have made me get a bronze medal the past two Olympics. So, like I said, just getting my win where I can get it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not what I wanted, but I took some good lessons from it. And I think this year and then the next Olympics is going to be pretty good.
The Olympic 100 is kind of that marquee event where they talk about the fastest human on the planet.
Yeah.
What surprised you about being in that final, just in terms of how you felt and what was happening?
I guess it's just like for me, it was just a normal race, but then it's just kind of getting up to the finals, just, the lights, the action, like how much stock people put into it. I was kind of like, oh, wow, like this is a bigger deal than it really is. And like I said, just a lot of people bring things out of them that like I didn't think a lot of the guys had it in them. I would say this year, just because of what I've seen previous years. So yeah, just with the whole thing, like I was just surprised at how fast everybody ran. Like I thought there was only going to be a couple, but everybody ran under 9.99 except for Oblique, but I think he ended up having a little pull in his groin. But yeah, I mean that race was fast, so it's like now I know what to expect. Like I said, it was my first time being at this stage.
One other question I have with the 100 meters is you got an inside lane, which means you were out on the track for everybody else's introduction. What is that like?
It was
And
cool.
I will say, and with Noah Lyles bounding halfway down the track, doing his thing.
I mean, I just focus on myself. I mean, everybody is going to have their thing that they do to hype the crowd up or to build their confidence. But like I said, for me, it's just trying to stay focused. And then I saw everybody else get out, get their introductions. And then after that, for me, it was just more so just waiting. And I didn't expect us to wait that long because in a way, like I got out there, everybody did their introduction, you had the music playing, and then it kind of prolonged. And I was kind of like, are we going to go yet? And that's, I guess, in a ways where I kind of lost focus. And then, are you ready? And I was like, okay, I got to, get back into my zone. But usually when it comes to just everybody else doing their things, their antics, like Noah, he's always going to be like that. He's going to jump around, engage the crowd. He kind of feeds off the energy. But for me, I'm just chilling.
200 meter going into finals first. Weird lane assignment situation going on. What happened and how did that affect you mentally, if it did?
I wouldn't say it mentally affected me at all, but with just the initial lane draw, it just didn't make sense. They made sure to tell us what to expect when it came to who gets what when they win their heat. So for me, it was just a simple fact of like, hey, you guys told us what this is supposed to look like when we, do this in the race. So why am I seeing something different? And I just wanted them to follow their own rules that they put up. So initially, I mean, if you guys saw, I had lane 4, which made no sense because I won my heat. And on top of that, I was the second fastest time going into the finals. So when you look at it, like either way, it just didn't make any sense because Ogando had lane 8 and they ended up switching me and him. But then in a way that kind of didn't make sense. But I was like, it's better than being in lane 4 because sometimes like that can screw up your race plan. I mean, for me, I tend to just, focus on myself, but then sometimes I might get a little too excited where, hey, I have everybody in front of me and I'm going to try to run all you guys down, which I've tried to done that in the past before and it doesn't work. So I'm the type of athlete where it's like, okay, just put me in the middle or put me up front. I'll be good. But yeah, like I said, it was just more of the fact that it's like, how did I get this lane draw when I won my heat? That doesn't make any sense. So I know a lot of people thought I was complaining, but there's a lot of people that just didn't understand what was actually going on. So that's why I went, and said, hey, there's a lot of favoritism going here because either way you look at it, it just doesn't make any sense.
Walk us through that final.
I mean, I was ready, zoned in, and as soon as the gun went off, I had a pretty good turn, and Tavogo kind of caught me, I would say, at 120 mark, and by then it was just kind of making sure not to do too much. I just kind of focus on myself and make sure that I don't strain. And I mean, all I can say about that race is that wasn't my best race, but I still came out with the silver medal, and I was happy about that performance just because, the previous year at World Champs, I didn't make the podium at all. So yeah, just coming out with the silver medal, being able to, to show everybody that I can run fast again at the biggest stage, running 1962 was a pretty good thing to see, especially with all the rounds underneath my legs. Yeah, I was just more happy to have my mom there and she was able to see me cross the finish line second. But yeah, like I said, it's so far as like the last two Olympics, been close, but somebody else has gotten it. So third time's the charm. Like I'm not going to let that happen again. But overall, I was satisfied with it.
Silver medal's the prettiest one.
Oh,
Paris.
thanks.
I wish people could see your face because when Jill asked you the question about breaking down the 200, there was a little shadow that came in your eyes, like,
I
oh
know, like,
Well,
oh, I gotta do
no.
this. Yeah,
well,
we
I
gotta talk
mean,
about it. But I mean, like,
initially,
but I'm gonna say what's his name because I can't remember the man's name from Botswana.
Tobogo.
Yeah, Tobago. He had potential extra fuel of his mom died, which
Yeah, I mean,
is very sad, but that can be a real motivator in ways that you'd never get any other year.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I looked at it too. Is like, when you're in a situation like that where a family member or a parent dies, it's like either you're gonna let it consume you or you're gonna use it as motivation. He used it as motivation. So, like I said, when I crossed the finish line, I was kind of like, come on, because it was kind of the same thing that happened in Tokyo. But then, I gave him his props because I know he's been through a lot, and yeah, like I was happy for him.
Speaking of moms, your mom became a little bit of a star in a
Oh,
lot of. Your mom's made a lot of appearances. How is that
yeah.
going?
It's pretty good. I mean, she's not used to it. So we did something for adoption, Dave Thomas Foundation, and that was like one of her first big speaking things that she's done, like interviews or engagements, I guess. I mean, she was nervous, so she's never been in front of a stage of over 2,000 people. It's talking about her life, my life. But yeah, with that, and I think she made an appearance on Sprint as well. So yeah, she's becoming a little rock star right now. But you gotta give her the love with what she's done with me and my brothers and sisters. Being able to do all that by herself, 4 kids, all of us adopted, different backgrounds. I think it's pretty amazing accomplishment that she did.
How was being in Sprint, and how did having cameras follow you for a portion of Paris? How was that added element to what you were working on?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, they made sure not to do too much, like get in the way and all that stuff. So like we were doing training, they're on the side talking about whatever. Like you just pretty much got to act like they're not there. I mean, they were good people too. So I mean, I was engaging, having conversations about other things. But I think they did a pretty good job with the limited time that they had. I mean, it was only 4 episodes and so many athletes. That you gotta try to put some product together, and I think they did a pretty good job. I feel like with my story, I think they did the best just because you kind of had a little deep dive into my background, my mom, and then just kind of seeing my family. Yeah, I mean, I had no complaints. But yeah, like, I mean, there's a lot more film that they took, but they couldn't put it together. So, I'm hoping that, they do another one for, let's say, this year's Worlds and they can add a little bit more episodes to have a more in depth of everybody's background and stuff like that.
4x100.
Uh
You had
oh.
I know this is tough. I hate to end with this. Earlier in the year, you had this amazing relay in Bahamas,
Mhm.
and then Courtney Lindsay just ran the heats in Paris. Noah's out with COVID. How was you had like 4 guys who had practiced together a long time, and then now you've got some change ups in the lineup. How does that work? And especially now that you also have a Team USA's relay coach in the mix as well. How does that affect what happens on the track? Because now you're getting a handoff from somebody you may not have practiced with that much.
I mean, it's a difficult situation. Initially what you guys saw in World Relays, that's the ideal situation we wanted, like me and a few of the other guys. But, other people end up deserving a certain spot after a trial. So that's when things get a little tricky. And then also you got parts where like, hey, I want to take this spot, you can have that spot, and then that person wants that same spot as you. So just trying to put the puzzle together and making everything just, stick. And, with Noah's last minute COVID situation, it kind of messed things up a little bit. But I mean, we all felt pretty confident with what we were putting out there. I mean, I only had pretty much 1 to 2 days of practice. Well, I had more than that, but I was in a different spot before, and then we switched me over to a different spot last second, and I've been in that spot before, but then again, you have different pieces, and I haven't, I didn't get an opportunity to train with Coleman that long. But regardless of all that, we all felt pretty confident about the situation, and things just happened. That's all I can really say. I should have done better on my part, and everyone else, we could have done a little bit better, but it's just a learning experience. And what kind of made it worse for me is just knowing the history of the relay for the Olympics, especially. And I don't like being a part of that history, like the bad part. But I think we're gonna figure it out. That's all I can really say. Mistakes were made, lessons were learned, and we're gonna be better for next time we go up there and try to conquer the world.
On a brighter note, since Paris, things have been going pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you go right back to racing right after the Olympics? I mean, it was pretty quick for you.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, last time I did that was in 21 and I was a little bit younger. So this time it was just, I got really sick right after I got back home. And I didn't realize I was sick until later, but I don't know what exactly I was sick with, but I think it's just with the whole ordeal with running 6 races and a relay and then just the travel, food situation, a lot of stress, and then you go home, long flight back home. People tend to always catch something. So originally I ended up going to Poland and I wanted to go out there because my last name is Polish and I wanted to bring my mom out there as well. But everything was like last minute. And I talked to the meet director at the Olympics and he was like, "Oh, you want to come to Poland?" And I was like, "No, because I'll like have 2 weeks and then I'm going to be right back out here." And I knew like mentally and physically I was going to need a little bit of a break, but I ended up going anyways. And, I had some fun and mentally I was tapped in after I got better from my sickness. I was like ready to go and everything. But then physically I was just kind of like, this is like during the race. Like physically, I felt good at practice, pre-meet, all that stuff. And as soon as the gun went off, me and Kyrie, he's my teammate, but we laugh about it because it's kind of a situation where it's like ain't nothing you can do about it. But I got on the turn first, like I usually do, and in my head I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling pretty good." And then by like 130 to 140, then my legs just stopped working, and then I see Tobogo and Ogando go by, so I was like, "Oh, I'm actually cooked. Like I don't have juice at all." So that usually tends to happen to all of us when we run a race like right after, because like it's not really that ideal. Like with doing so much within a week to a week and a half, and then trying to go out there into a Diamond League or a World Continental, right? Like pretty much back to back. It's just hard on the body. But then after that, I bounced right back. Went to Zurich and ran a PB in the cold weather, so that was pretty cool. And then I finally ended the season on a good note with the Diamond League trophy. And it's kind of the same situation where it was very chilly, but apparently I tend to run a lot faster or more relaxed when it's cold weather. But I think that's my Wisconsin roots.
We had a question when we were talking with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If sprinters ever like running longer distance just for fun, do you ever go out and run a mile?
It's been a long no.
We were talking about Emil Zatopek, the long distance runner. We're like, well, do sprinters? Everyone's like, oh, they're the greatest runners in the world. We're like, well, sprinters gotta
I think
get some love too.
I would be cool with running like long distance if there's like obstacles. Like I've done what's it called? I forgot what it's
Ninja
called.
Warrior type stuff.
Yeah, some Ninja Warrior
Or
type
the mud
stuff.
runs.
Yeah, mud run. So my physio, who's my friend, like he ended up taking me and my girlfriend out to one, I think 2 years ago. Oh, it's actually called the Savage Race. That's what it's called. So we went to it, and I forgot how long it was, but it was like longer than a mile, and it was pretty fun. Just jumping over obstacles and having to be on ropes and everything, and just get over it. Then we went into the mud and everything, so it was pretty cool. But I think if you just ask me to run a mile, I'm probably gonna ask you, is it a bet? Like you gotta bet money or something, because me and Kyrie, like I said, he's my teammate. We did that this year where like I had no clue that this was gonna happen, and I just ended up going to practice, and then everybody was huddled up talking about something. And I was just like, what's going on? And they're like, "Oh, we're making a bet to see if we can run under 6 minutes for a mile." And I was like, "Oh, can I join?" So that's the only time I ran a mile just to see if I could do it. But like I said, there's got to be something like you got to give me a reward if I'm running a mile.
How'd you do? Did you win the bet?
Yeah, we won. Yeah, we did pretty good. Like we were just right under, and we didn't actually stretch or anything. So I was like, okay, I'm actually proud of myself because I just woke up out of bed and ran under a 6 minute mile. I was like, if I actually warmed up, stretched, then the time would have gone down a lot lower. But I think as of right now, I probably can run like 5:30.
Wow.
So
Just 5:30 like it's nothing.
yeah, well, I have the cross country background as well, so I used to do that when I was younger.
Okay. Did you have the chocolate muffin?
The chocolate muffin?
The chocolate muffin from Paris, the famous chocolate Paris muffin in the village. Do you even stay in the village?
I did stay in the village. My girlfriend said I should have stayed outside. A little bit more difficult just because I was getting my physio. He was helping like give me the food that I needed. We bought a bunch of groceries. He would cook it for me, and just getting to the village was very hectic. But yeah, No, I did not have that muffin. I didn't actually eat that much at the village just because, well, to me, I think the food was terrible. The first day I think it was okay, and then the second day I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I ordered every single day, or I had food that was made for me outside.
Besides the medal, what's your favorite souvenir from Paris?
What was it? Shoot, I forgot what we brought. I don't know if I did get a souvenir. I'm not sure. I don't think I grabbed one because I've been to Paris before. So I mean, the last time I was there, I went to the Eiffel Tower. But I think I wouldn't say souvenir. But the cool thing that I like going to was the Louvre. But I only went there pretty much. Me and a bunch of my teammates went in there looking for the Mona Lisa. That was the only thing we cared
Right.
about. I was like, where is it? Where is it? So we like went all over the place, and then we finally found it. And I was like, why is it so small?
It only looks small compared to you, Kenny. That's
Yeah. Well, when you're watching movies or you see it on television, you always kind of like it's like bigger than it really is. Like even the Eiffel Tower, not the Eiffel, but I would say Statue of Liberty. When I first saw it, I was kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, I thought it was bigger, but that's when I've only seen it on TV, so I always thought it was like humongous.
I'll stand next to things and give you better scale.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be better. But yeah, Paris was fun. Had some good food. Had some good pizza. And yeah, like I had a really good time out there. It was just very, very hot. The one time I did stay out the village, it was the hottest day and there was no AC, so I was waking up like every hour, so I was miserable. And then I was like, I can't do this again, so I went back to the village. So they had, a little bit of AC there.
We hear you. We had heat problems too. It was not fun. It was not fun. You're going into a world champs year. You started training already.
Yep.
What are you looking forward to?
Ooh.
Goals. What are your goals?
I'm ready to right my wrongs and finally give me some gold medals, break some records. That's what I'm looking for this year. Last year, well, technically this year, I stayed healthy, and I've always told people like a healthy me is a dangerous me, because I've always known what I was capable of doing. It's just a matter of just putting it together, and like I said, just making that progress every single year to get faster and faster. So running 19.5, like at the end of the season, it started to feel easier. So now I know, like, hey, I can just hit this whenever I want to. And this year, I'm just trying to make a big jump, trying to get some gold medals and be unbeatable. Same thing, I want to be in the 100, the 2, and the 4x1. Because I still got to prove myself in that 4x1. But yeah, training's been going well. Right now, we're just doing a little long distance stuff in the grass, so it's kicking our butt. I'm always tired every single day, so it's back to the grind.
Wait, so what is long distance for you? Is that like a 400?
Like a 500. That's the longest
Okay.
thing we do right now. Oh, the other thing is, if we go to the year after, in 2026, I want to see what I can do in the 400 because I haven't ran it in a while. So I've been telling my coach to like let me train for it, and that's the only time I can do it because technically we don't have anything that year besides Ultimate Championship, and that's not mandatory. And I was like, even if I go, it's like maybe I can go there and run the 400 and see. I got 44.7, so and I ran that in college, so I was like, I'm faster now, so now I just got to build that stamina. Let's see if I can hit a 43.
Very nice. We will be looking for that in a couple of years.
Yeah,
Then.
but yeah, I gotta convince my coach.
You can do it.
Coach.
You're dangerous, Kenny. You're
Put him in,
dangerous.
coach. Well,
Yeah.
honestly,
Excellent. Kenny, thank you so much for coming back and talking with
thank
us.
you.
We really appreciate it. It's always fun talking with you.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Kenny's documentary series, Road to Gold, is now available on YouTube. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. You can learn more about him at kennybednarek.com, and on Insta and X, he is at Kenny_Bednarek.
è un'atmosfera.
Do you have the vibe? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
That is what it should be in Italian.
All right. Milan Cortina has released its motto, "It's your vibe." And the IT is capitalized for Italy.
Thank you so much, by the way, to our friend Terrence Burns, because until he made a comment about the motto on LinkedIn, I didn't get that the IT was because it's Italy. I just looked at it going, what a bizarre motto.
Yeah,
It made no sense to me. But then when I got that they're doing several different. They're saying like it's a something else besides just it's a vibe.
It's talent, it's your vibe. It's creativity, it's your vibe. It's energy, it's your vibe. It's Milano, it's your vibe. It's para-alpine skiing, it's your vibe. Everything is going to be your vibe at the games.
But you know what it's not going to be? In Italian. Which I guess is good for us.
Good for us. I'm curious if that's just the global nature of the games and how English is pervasive. Or if English, that's a cool thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know in several countries in Europe, they do commercials sometimes with English phrases because people at one time thought it was very cool. I don't know if that's true anymore.
But it's going to be vibing.
It is atmosphera-ing.
Okay. Also very cool is that Italy has released its numismatic collection 2025, which will celebrate the game. So if you are a coin collector, check into this. The collection features 32 coins with the logo and sports and host locations. Coins have been released this month in February, and we will have a link to the list and denominations in the show notes. I've been thinking about the gender equity element of Milan Cortina and how it's not going to be as prominent of a story as it was for Paris.
Gender parity in Paris. Who knew?
Right. So according to Larry Lage of the Associated Press, the IOC says that 2026 is going to be the most gender-balanced Winter Games yet, with 47% females and 53% males participating. The difference is because females do not compete in Nordic combined.
And also bobsled, because they have monobob and 2 women, whereas men have 2 men and 4 men.
Right. So there could be upwards of 6 men versus upwards of 3 women, depending on how you build your sleds. So yeah, that's another place where it's a big disparity in equity. More news on the sliding novella.
Sabotaggio. That's really the Italian word. I did not make that up.
According to Simico, the construction company for the new sliding track, on February 21st, a 500-kilogram cooling pipe that had been permanently hooked and fixed inside the building site was found disconnected and in the middle of the road, blocking traffic, causing disruption. Investigators are looking into the matter, and it was currently thought to be a malicious act, which is surprising that, what happened here, because you've got basically 5 hours a day off. And somebody needed, if it's that heavy of a pipe, you either needed a lot of people in there who apparently make no footprints, or you needed some kind of system that would, a crane to lift that out and have it block the road. So who knows what happened? Maybe we will find out. The pipe has now been put back into place, though. Something was very fishy about this to me.
Oh, I hope someday, before I die, I hear the story of how this pipe got moved. Because it's a great one.
Exactly.
Someday when we're doing like the 25th anniversary of Milan Cortina, we're going to find the story of this pipe and what really happened.
The IOC inspection team was there this past Monday, the 24th, to check out the progress. Now, according to Simico, so they are the ones who put out the press release, and they are the ones in charge of the construction, and they are the ones who have said, no problem, this is getting done. They said the visit was very positive, and inspectors were surprised by the quality and quantity of the work done. On Thursday, the day this episode comes out, they are supposed to turn on the refrigeration system. And they say the track's going to be finished by March 15th, and the certification process will start on March 24.
So if there's an earthquake on February 27th, starting in Italy, we warned you. Because can't refrigeration systems explode?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not
wishing that for it to happen. It just feels like the same guy who moved the pipe is not going to give up.
Yeah, I don't know. And I want to, what I haven't done is look to who built the track for Turin. Don't know if it was the same construction firm or not, but that did not go well. I haven't seen anything else on this. I just don't know. I still have very big trust issues when we come to Italy putting out games that will be high quality construction. for the new construction, but we shall see.
You know
Hat
who
tip
would do
there.
high quality?
Who?
Stockholm.
Likely. Actually, they wouldn't have to do high quality sliding because they'd be using the track in Latvia. Anyway, little hat tip to Rich Perlman over at the Sports Examiner, who has been on the case of this sliding novella for us.
And can I just say, I mean, we give Rich Perlman kudos all the time, but if you love this stuff, he's your guy.
Yes, definitely. We have some news from France 2030.
C'est quoi? Ma.
The French Alps 2030 Games have announced its leadership. The president will be Edgar Gros-Piron, who competed in moguls at Calgary in 1988 when it was a demonstration sport, and he got third there. And then he won gold at Albertville and bronze at Lillehammer. He lives in Lake Annecy, which is in the neighborhood of the whole game, so he is quite familiar with the terrain. June's going to be a big month for French Alps 2030, as that is when the IOC will decide the event program, because they got to get this stuff going really quickly. A lot of potential sports on the list. Franck Joux quoted an interview from Le Dauphin that potential sports include ski mountaineering, speed skiing, which would make a comeback, telemark, cross country, cyclocross, and ice cross. Those have all been floated as ideas.
What even are those things?
Okay, so telemark is some form of ski jumping,
Okay.
I believe. Cross country would be running.
Oh,
Cyclocross is kind of it's a biking discipline that involves like mud and hauling your bike over things and stuff like that. So you do get off the bike and you have to maneuver by hand. Ice cross is ice cross. Extreme sport, I would be voting for it. Think of snowboard cross on ice skates. So they build a track. I'll put a link to something in the show notes because Red Bull does this. And they will have,
do.
yeah. It is like ice skating down a shortened bobsled track. Not that complicated of a bobsled track, but it's got turns and curves and it's going to be pretty fast. And there's like 4 of you on there at once. And there's little jumps and hops and things in there too. Yeah, it is really cool looking for sure. It's totally a sport for me to watch. I would be so scared to do this though. You have to grow up in this sport, like you just and have no fear at all. Ice cross is really, really cool. That would be my vote. Another big question is whether Nordic combined will make the cut for French Alps 2030. It could include a women's event, could be axed altogether. So back to Larry Lage from the Associated Press. He noted that the sport does not have great representation outside of Europe for the men. In the last 3 games, just 4 countries have won medals. So, it's really concentrated at the top. The sport has a very small audience at the Olympics, also not good. But the women's side has grown over the last 4 years from 30 to 46 women who have earned World Cup points and has 8 countries represented in the top 12 skiers. So the women could help it, let's just say. To boost some interest in both the sport and in the women's event, FIS Nordic Combined is going to have a docuseries called The Overlooked, The Untold Stories of Nordic Combined Heroes. We'll put a link to the trailer in the show notes because it looks like our Shukhlastani Annika Malasinski will be part of this. So I don't know. What do you think of these sports potentials?
Well, like I said, I didn't even know what half of these things were. Though I think it's interesting that they're talking about cross country and cyclocross, basically taking summer sports and making them into winter sports.
Right. I could see cyclocross working in a way because you do kind of have to haul your bike across things. So why not have it on a snow-based course?
And then ice cross, bringing all those people who skate outdoors, bringing that kind of out of the skating rink makes sense, I guess. It sounds terrifying.
Looked up telemark skiing very quickly. It is a skiing technique that combines alpine and Nordic. So you use the rear foot to balance while you push on the front foot to create a carving turn on downhill skis with toe only bindings.
That sounds very niche. to really capture people's imaginations.
It does. It does. And that is according to Wikipedia. But I think it looks like, you can go on backcountry and type of stuff like that in there. But yeah, it does look like a very niche thing. Little bit of news from Brisbane.
Brisbane, breaking my heart.
They have appointed a chief sports operator who will be responsible for designing the sports program, including choosing additional sports. Who have they picked?
They picked my IOC boyfriend, Kit McConnell, which means he's leaving the IOC, which honestly, they couldn't do better. But I think Kit and I are going to have to break up now.
Maybe. Maybe, but Kit's going home. He's going home to Australia.
He's Kiwi.
They dual national.
But he's Kiwi.
He did work on Sydney 2000, so he is excited to get back to working on a host city element. Leaves the IOC at the end of June and will start with Brisbane towards the end of July. So congratulations to him. And man, Brisbane, you got a good person on the team. New theme for Salt Lake City 2034.
I like that. It sounds very snowy.
The Salt Lake City team has announced its leadership and board members. Fraser Bullock is the executive chair and president. Brad Wilson, who is a businessman and former Utah Speaker of the House, will also be there. He'll be the CEO and vice chair of the board, along with Steve Starks. So a lot of business people at the top of the bill. Athletes representatives on the executive committee include Lindsey Vonn and Team USA bobsledder Chris Kinney. Other athletes commission members include Chair speed skater Catherine Rainey Norman, Sarah Hughes, Oksana Masters, Muffy Davis, who was a 2002 Paralympian, Allison Felix, and Lindsey Vonn will be there again as well. So they are raring to go in Salt Lake City, I think. A little bit of news from the International Olympic Committee. TCL has signed on as a top sponsor through 2032. They're going to replace Panasonic in the category of home audiovisual equipment and appliances. They plan to support the IOC exploring the use of AI in supply equipment, which will include digital displays at the games to appliances at the village. And these appliances may include air conditioners, which was the first thing mentioned. Refrigerators, washing machines, door locks, audio systems, projectors, and TCL Ray Neo smart glasses. So we'll see how that works. But it's good that they got a sponsor to take that spot, because a lot of sponsors left after.
Right, a lot of the Japanese companies said, you're not doing anything in Asia for a while. See you later.
Right. Also in sponsorship news, AB InBev has extended its top sponsorship from ending in 2028 to now ending in 2032. Corona Zero will continue as a global beer sponsor or non-alcoholic beer sponsor of the Olympics. And Michelob Ultra will also play a key presence at the Olympics and Paralympics. I'm going to put a link to this story in the show notes because there is a great picture of T-Bach cheersing with a Corona Zero, and it's a side profile view, and he does not look like he's going to enjoy this beer.
I was going to say, the man is German, and he's cheering with a Corona of any kind. He may not be let home.
You got to do it for the picture. It is the time of the show where we check in with our team, Keep the Flame Alive. These are past guests and listeners of the show who make up our citizenship of our very own country, TKFLASTAN. What's going on?
Pole vaulter Katie Moon won her 7th national title at the U.S. Indoor Championships.
Erin Jackson won both the 500-meter races in the ISU World Cup event in Poland.
Magda Skarbonkowicz won the Atlantic Coast Conference Women's Sabre Championship. This is her first collegiate season with Notre Dame.
John Schuster competed with Eileen Geving in the U.S. Olympic trials for mixed doubles. They had a 3-6 record in the Bonspiel and did not qualify for playoffs.
And Mackenzie Cohen has been named the 2025 commencement speaker for Loyola University in Maryland.
And that will do it for this episode. Let us know your favorite moments from the Paris 2024 track and field competition.
And we do love hearing from you. You can chat with us and other listeners on our Facebook group, Keep the Flame Alive Podcast. Email us at flamealivepod@gmail.com. And the voicemail and text line is always open at 208-352-6348. That's 208-FLAME-IT. And if you need more Olympics and Paralympics in your life, and who doesn't, sign up for our weekly newsletter at flamealivepod.com. We'll have a link to that in the show notes.
Next week, it will be 1 year to go until Milan Cortina 2026 Paralympics.
Yikes.
They're coming up so fast. So we are going to talk Paralympics next week. We'll be catching up with bocce player Alison Levine to hear about her Paris Paralympics, and we'll have any other Paralympics news from 2026. They've been kind of quiet about the Paralympics so far, so I'm hoping that they are going to do something special.
I hope so. We need more info.
We do need more info, but I'm sure that a lot of it's just going to be like, well, this is the Olympics, so the Paralympics get it too. But there's special stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different things. So we will keep our eyes and ears open to see what is coming up for Milan Cortina 2026. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, keep the flame alive.